Welcome to day 11, and today's mantra is abundance. Now, we've talked about this entire series being a walk to prosperity and abundance by embodying some of the characteristics of somebody who is inviting in gifts, magic, people appreciating us and doing things for us too, right? So, what does abundance have to do with this? And by the way, let's acknowledge that if we are feeling like our budgets don't add up, if we're feeling oppressed, if we feel like we don't make enough money, if running out of money before the end of the month, all of these things are the opposite of abundance, right? So we may be in that circumstance and we might say, how am I supposed to feel abundance when I feel instead lack, limitations, that sort of thing? Again, we have to solve the problem, but we also have to acknowledge that our mindset is part of the solution. So even if you don't have extra money, I want you to do an exercise today that promotes the feeling of abundance. So and again, it may take you longer than just today to set this up, but I want you to give something to somebody else for at least an hour of your time. So if you're going to give money, give time and talent too. Figure out what you can do for somebody else for 1 hour of your time that is going to improve something, whether it's donating an hour at your child's school, donating an hour to help out an elderly person, donating an hour at a nationally recognized NGO like the Red Cross, whatever speaks to your heart. And it may be something that you're already giving money to. Donate an hour of your time. That's going to change things and make you understand it and feel it in a different way than just writing a check does. So, what is abundance? Abundance is giving from the overflow, right? And that's one of the other things, because you might be somebody that has a lot to give, right? Like you are not lacking in any way at all. And I know a great deal of very wealthy people, and sometimes they feel put upon. That only reason that people are in their lives is to ask them for stuff, right? And so how do you balance that with abundance? Because if you are feeling like people are demanding stuff from you, or that you have to give them, or that you're the only one that could help, that's not necessarily that feeling of abundance that we're looking for. Because overgiving or giving from a place of obligation is different than giving from a place of love, of abundance, right? So, how do we manage that? How do we get there if we do have a great deal of assets? This is the secret. It's not overgiving. So, in the Thrive budget, we have an allocation in there. And let's say whatever amount of money you make, you want to get to the point where it's 50% to survive and 50% to thrive. The truth is, really wealthy people, they don't have to spend 50% of their income to survive. It's, their taxes are lower than the average person on average. And, they're not spending anywhere close to 50% to survive, even if you add in security, if they're billionaires. So, but the thing about that budget is that it limits it charity to 10%. And so if you are a person that's a millionaire or a multimillionaire, look, if you're a billionaire, you've got foundations and you've got this figured out, and it's getting a little gray area there with education and some of the other things in the Thrive budget, because many things that you probably learned if you just played the billionaire game, because we talk about billionaires. But if you're the person that has more than enough already, but when you give, you're not necessarily giving and feeling that warm, fuzzy feeling of giving from the overflow of true abundance, then maybe you're out of whack with your Thrive budget. So go back and do the Thrive budget. We've got a free web app for it. Email info@nataliepace.com if you need us to send you that free web app. And look at it and take 10% of your income. That limits you. So if someone comes in and they said, I need blank, and you look at your budget and it's like a tenth of what they're asking for, then you, if you truly want to help them, have to find another solution rather than you just writing that check 10 times the amount that you really should be writing it. A lot of times throwing money at a problem is not the solution anyway. I was watching The Queen of Versailles. It's about this, wealthy family in Florida, and she was building this big giant house to rival the Queen of Versailles. It's so heartbreaking. It's such a tragedy, this story. And she had a friend who was going to lose her house, and so she gave her money to pay mortgage that month, and the friend paid mortgage that month, and then they lost the house 2 months later. So a lot of times, if we are writing a check, we're not really looking at the problem. We're just throwing money at it. And honestly, all she did was make the bank rich. She didn't help her friend that much for 1 month, yes, but it would have been a lot better to really sit down and figure out what was at the heart of why the friend was going to lose the property in the first place. And was there a more sustainable solution that she wasn't going to lose it in 90 days? So when no matter which end of the spectrum you're on, getting to that true feeling of abundance, which is giving from the overflow and loving it, um, then if you're still on the lack side, then time and talent can be as valuable as money. And if you're on the abundance side, but you give, but you don't feel that warm, fuzzy feeling, then maybe you are over giving, or maybe you haven't set the boundaries for yourself that you need to set. And once you do, and you only have this much that you can give, what is it that is really going to set your heart on fire to try to change in the world for the better? Okay, today's mantra is abundance. Think about it all day long and set up that hour. And by the way, those of you with more than enough to give who are, so easy at writing checks, give some time and give some talent. This is going to also give you the warm fuzzies. Okay. Again, you may not be able to do it today, but set it up and think abundance all day long and try to give a little from the overflow, even if it's not a full hour. I'll see you tomorrow. And thanks a lot. Natalie Pace, nataliepace.com.